This is for Algebra 1, and this is a refresher for factoring. If you have 20x minus 10, the first thing you want to do is look for a greatest common factor, something they have in common that you can pull out. These numbers will both divide by 10, so I'm going to pull a 10 out. 20 divided by 10 is 2. The x stays because I didn't pull any letters out. Minus because they had a minus, and 10 divided by 10 is 1. Remember that anytime something cancels like this, you have to put a 1 there as a placeholder. If you had something like 12, a to the fourth, b to the fourth, minus 18a, you would say 12 and 18 will both divide by 6. They both have an a. The smallest exponent was just plain a. And that's all they have in common, so that's all I can pull out. 12 divided by 6 is 2. a to the fourth, when I take one a out, leaves me a to the third. b to the fourth does not change. Minus 18 divided by 6 is 3. I have an a, I pull the a out, it's gone. So that's going to be your answer there. When you have something like x squared minus 25, you look, there's nothing in common. If there's nothing in common and there's just two terms, check and see if they're perfect squares. X squared is, 25 is. So what's the square root of x squared? X plus what's the square root of 25? 5. Put parentheses around it and write the same thing again, but use the other sign. So you have x plus 5 and x minus 5. If you have 8x squared minus 2, these will both divide by 2. Leaves you 4x squared minus 1. Always check and make sure, can I do anything with 4x squared minus 1? Well, they don't have anything in common, but they're both perfect squares. So your 2 trails along. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of x squared is x, plus the square root of 1 is 1. And then you write 2x minus 1. Notice that the 2 trailed along but only got written one time, so don't try to write it twice. So this one has 3 terms. You still look for anything in common. They don't have anything in common. So when there's 3 terms, nothing in common, and nothing in front of the x squared, you find the factors of the number at the end. So the factors of 49 are 1 and 49, 7 and 7. You got to remember your sign rules. The second sign tells me whether they're the same or different. This is a plus, and so they're the same. And so the first one's going to tell me what they both are. So they're all positive. And then they have to equal 14. So I'm going to use 7 and 7. And this becomes x plus 7 and x plus 7. So looking at these 3, they all divide by 2, so I'm going to start by pulling a 2 out. Leaves me c squared plus 7c minus 30. So now I've got to factor what's inside. There's nothing in front of the c squared anymore, so I'm going to find the factors of 30, the new number at the end. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. Signs are going to be different, and the big one is positive, which means that the little one has to be negative. I need the ones that equal 7, so I'm going to use minus 3 and 10. You're going to continue to pull that 2 down. You can't lose it. And then you have c minus 3, and you have c plus 10. So if there's nothing in common, and there is a number in front of the x squared, you're going to have to take the number at the front, and you're going to have to multiply it by the number at the end. So 6 times 7 is 42. So you have 1 and 42. This is what you find the factors of. 2, 21, 3 and 14, 6 and 7. Signs are going to be different, and the big one is negative, so you make all your big ones negative. They need to equal negative 19, so you're going to use 2 and negative 21. You do not get to write your answer. You've got to bring down your 6k squared, pull over your plus 6k minus 7k, bring down your minus 7 from the end. You're going to cut it in half. The first two both have a 6 and a k, and it leaves you k plus 1. Pull down your minus. The last two both have a 7, and it leaves you a k. Remember, if you pull a minus down, you change the sign to a plus. Change it to the opposite of what it was. K plus 1. These have to be the same. They are. That's part of my answer. And then 6k minus 7 is the other part, because that's what I had pulled out. Okay, so that was just a quick review. You've got a worksheet now that's going to have you practice factoring. You have a review sheet you've already done. You really need to look over that closely, because that's what your test is going to be like. If you have any questions, call me over.